Hello, friend, and welcome back once again to the Cauldrons of War. Now, there's a very weird thing going on here. I loaded the game, and the funny thing is that now that I reloaded it, this Army Group South is back, and I'm having the problem. Well, I used up all of these, and then South is back. They have 9, but does it mean that I can... Yes. This is weird. I was under the impression that I split them. And that I ended the turn. No, huh? This is very weird. Huh? Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again. There has been... This is super weird. What do you mean, the 17th Army? Why is there an enemy actions report acting as if the 17th Army is not mine? What happened here? What do you mean I used up all of my command points? I'm playing as the Germans. What the heck is going on? No, I don't want to split my army or resupply them. Why? First pass out to race along the dawn. Yeah, I did that. I remember. Okay. This is super weird. Maybe the problem will get fixed if I just keep playing. I don't know. Both of these are trying to retreat. Well. Okay, that progress is not good enough. But I guess maybe it's also because of the stragglers. These are the only ones that don't have them. But I can't really do... I could airlift them, but the weather is bad. Could supply them, but it costs a lot of trucks. So I suppose that's just not what I want to do. I have no clue why those guys are back, though. But I'll have to see. They did kill the 18th, so that's at least useful. I do have the 12th and the 56th remaining. 56th is very small, but the 12th is quite big, and that might be a problem. I do not have a lot of confidence in the Romanian Cavalry Corps, nor do I have a lot of confidence in the 3rd Romanian Corps. I could give them ammunition supply, but now they are pinned. I guess then I might just as well give them a 2nd ammunition supply. This is also, why would you want to progress? Makes no sense. Cost fuel even. But the weird thing is that it doesn't matter that that's going on. I do have 2 ammunition here. Let's shell them and attack them. They must be very weak right now. I don't necessarily need to complete this operation, because we know that after this there will be a holding operation for me anyway. I can't attack. Why is this Leningrad thing gone as well? The game kind of acts as if I captured Leningrad suddenly, but that's obviously also not the case. Okay. There's definitely some things here wrong here. Left behind Luftwaffe, the rapid advance of our troops across the steppe has forced the Luftwaffe to move to new airfields in order to continue supporting our troops. For several days we'll have to do without our aircrafts to spot and harass the enemy. Surplus available this turn from Army Group South. Yeah, we're making good progress. Into the wild steppe. Our most advanced troops in the steppe are now more than 300 kilometers from our most advanced logistics depot. Supplying our units lost in the vastness of a gigantic steppe with poorly drivable roads has become a logistical nightmare. Units engaged in the dawn race gain the isolated stretch lines and straggler straits. Drive to the east. The Blau plan called for a very large encirclement of Soviet troops, but the observation is that too many enemies are escaping the too loose mesh of our net. The Wehrmacht High Command wants to impose a more restricted encirclement at Milarovo, an important railway junction. Such a change of plan would mobilize our mobile troops currently employed on the banks of the Don by directing them due south. Rostov would thus take precedence over Stalingrad in our strategic objectives. Feldmarshal von Bock firmly opposes the operation, which calls into question the initial plan for a certain province. To Stalingrad gives Army Group South -2 command points. Army Group B -2 command points. Priority given to Group B. And to Milarovo gives priority to A. Units are reassigned to the south, and an operation is transformed into a Kessel. Let's go to Milarovo. One thing that I actually think is interesting is that if this is the designer, I really like that he's using the laptop and then he puts the books there, because that's, I guess, better for your back. It's a tactic that I've used in the past before as well, to make sure that your laptop is at eye level. This is just something that I know that is pretty funny. Historically, the Germans tried to finally create a great encirclement from which the Soviets attempt to escape through a general retreat. The catches were very meager. By pushing massive mobile units towards the south, progress towards Rostov, the gateway to the Caucasus, is facilitated. If you have chosen to drive to Milarovo, you will have to pursue and eliminate the Soviets before they reach the foothills of the Caucasus, where they can dig in and wait for you in a strong position. If too many Soviet armies escape you, your entire campaign would be in jeopardy. I guess so. But look, now I have all of these additional action points. Army Group B has nothing here, but nothing falls under Army Group A and B. Leningrad is gone, and yeah, this just makes no sense. I'm gonna report this, obviously. I'll make a nice print screen of it. But let's just continue. This is just a test game before we're starting the real deal here, because this is kind of weird. Okay. Okay, so Milarovo, they have the 56th Army down here, and the 12th Army here now. So suddenly, okay, we've switched it up. They put the mobile units over here, and they got some ammo back and stuff. Well, I guess reversed front is what they need. Progress, progress. Rostov has fallen, the doors to the Caucasus are open. I'm not gonna argue with anything here. Sure. Caucasus is open. There are already no rail lines. No rail lines. I guess I should have refueled before this. Maybe. Like refitting or resupplying now is already a big problem. And, well, let's just read this. The conquest of the Cuban. The defense of the Cuban is impossible as there is little favorable ground to establish defensive lines. The Wehrmacht should have no difficulty in pushing back the enemy it's facing. With the railway line ending at Rostov, the German army will have to be supplied by trucks. And race to the Terek. A desolate steppe stretches as far as the eye can see, crossed only by two large rivers, the Kuma and the Terek. Crossing them will be necessary to access the oil fields of Grozny, then Baku. You guys don't need to do a hedgehog defense. And after that, there's just, for now, not that much I can do. I can supply them with a huge amount of trucks, but that doesn't help. You guys also need to do a hedgehog defense. They do have a lot of artillery. I might actually be able to attack with them. Let's do this. Where are they isolated? Go to the front. They're lagging behind, that's the thing. But then this hedgehog defense was supposed to help with that. Still isolated. No reason why. It's very weird. And attack 2. This kills the 16th army. I'm actually surprised. I thought they were not allowed to send forces from Bryansk. But oh well. Okay, so there are a lot of units in Army Group A, but I have no... This is super weird. Anyway. I'll just send these units to Group B. I have no clue why they're here. This is a bit weird. There are now also units in Group B for whatever reason. 1st Mountain Division. I mean, sure. I have to send those units in Group B to Group A, and then from Group A they can then go to South, because all of my action is with South. That's super weird. Rommel stopped at the gates of Egypt. The Africa Corps was stopped at the gates of Egypt, short of supplies and faced with difficult terrain. Its tanks were unable to dislodge the Allied forces of General Auchinleck, firmly entrenched around El Alamein, barely 100 kilometers from the port of Alexandria. The future will tell if it's possible to resume the offensive once reinforcements have joined the front. However, this failure has been noted by Turkey, further reducing the likelihood of this wait-and-see country of joining our alliance. Rommel can still win. We'll see. 12th Army restored communications, tried to retreat, then restore communications. Then they went to the strategic reserve in the southwest front. That practically means that we can progress. The mad ride of the Wehrmacht along the Don has reached the extensive defensive buffer zone of the Stalingrad region. The rest of the operation should quickly bring this campaign to a close. So Army Group B is gone now, entirely. There's still Army Group A. I guess maybe I'll have to put all these units in south before that's gone. Although it still does not make a whole lot of sense. The Don Loop. Beyond the Chir River extends the Loop of Don, the last barrier before reaching Stalingrad. Oh. The terrain is favorable to an encircling maneuver, which would close at the town of Kalach. I can't. Let's do breakthrough. Let's give them fuel supply. They can move on the next turn. I have one railroad here, so that should at least help me a little bit in resupplying these guys. I can technically progress, but I don't want to. Now, going through here, also no rail. th Army has no ammo. But let's just dig them in first. We're already done with all of our... No fuel this game, so I wonder why. I can't send them to Army Group South. I have to send them to Mitte. Why? What is wrong with you? Why? 23rd Corps to go to the front. We don't know what this is. Maskirovka. The enemy is unaware of the existence of this army. It's completely invisible to them if in strategic reserve and appears without information if it's part of an operation. If this army was to be in combat, the enemy would be surprised by its sudden appearance on the battlefield, can get a significant bonus in combat. Hiding an entire army is only possible for the side player who has mastered this art. Alright. Well, I cannot do anything with those guys anymore anyway. They don't have much ammo. Barrier troops doesn't do a whole lot. Let's see, didn't do a whole lot. Well, let's just start here. Supply 18th Tank Corps. Like I said, I don't really need to attack them, and no clue why I would necessarily try to cross with them. 12th Army going to the front. Alright, let's do hedgehog defense for these. So they can dig in, and they do have a lot of artillery. I could technically shell, but we'll see how that goes. In here, they have this 57th Army refit. 1st Panzer, 4th Panzer. At least they're no longer lagging behind. The Cuban River is reached and the vast region rich in wheat is in the hands of the Axis. Progress of the operation, yes, completed. So now we're at the battle for Maikop. The Cuban River and the towns of Krasnodar and Armavir guarding it make a formidable line of defense, the last obstacle between the Wehrmacht and the rich oil fields of Maikop. We get the remote operations penalty. The theater of operations is well beyond the reach of our supply chain. Truck supply will be more expensive and unit tiredness attrition will increase faster. We also have urban fighting, river, and extreme heat. So it's going to be quite difficult. They still have nothing here, but these guys have no fuel. Let's start with this. And I could do an air superiority mission here. Not sure how beneficial that is. I'll do that too, just to make sure that they're doing okay again. Nothing is happening here. Or here. Keep shelling plenty of enemies in that sector. I don't actually want to send them to Higaskupa Mita, so I'll just refit these units. With additional ammo, and that's it. Operations in the Caucasus. As a German player, your frustrations in the Caucasus are going to be many. Supply will often be lacking, there are too many simultaneous operations, and not enough troops. You will always lack command points to bring in reinforcements from your strategic reserves. All these constraints were the same as the Germans' experience historically, but that alone will not console you. However, here are some useful tips. Alternate operations. Do not push everywhere at once. Split your large units. They'll be less powerful, but we'll be able to cover more operations, so it'll be easier to supply. As a reminder, supply by horse-drawn wagons is only possible for corps and divisions. Use your air force and mountain troops. Historically, the Germans were able to take Novorossiysk, except for the port, which frustrated the Axis supply shipments. And Mayakop planted their flag on Mount Elbrus and bombed Grozny. Will you do better? The Blucher II on the port of Temryuk on the Sea of Azov at the other side of the Kerch Strait has been occupied by your troops, or our troops. This capture will allow us to finally launch Operation Blücher to bring our troops from the Crimea to the Taman Peninsula. The passage will be safe for small boats and ferries, while the Luftwaffe will drive out the Soviet fleet from the area. The Taman beachhead will make it possible to directly threaten the port of Novorossiysk, the capture of which will open the coastal road to Batumi, and above all will facilitate our supply. Operations on the west coast can now depend on the Crimean HQ. Operation Blücher is launched. GA South or Group B planes are mobilized this turn at last. Offensive on Rzhev. The Red Army is launching a determined offensive to reduce or even eliminate the Rzhev salient. The alert is serious enough that General Motor himself is worried despite the excellence of the defenses he has set up. The Rzhev salient mobilized many Soviet troops and helped convince our enemy that we did not give up the goal of taking Moscow. On the other hand, the vigorous defense of the salient risks mobilizing resources much needed further south. I'm quite sure he's doing very well. If I do briefly, then that will help convince the enemy of an offensive on Moscow. Group B aircraft are alone to our group center this turn. B or South mines to command this turn, plus 1 command point this turn. Will do very well. Alpini. The Italian army in Russia is ready. However, its 10 divisions will not be enough to cover the flanks of our armies advancing towards the Don Loop. The Italian troops do include the excellent Alpini Corps, skilled in mountain warfare. These troops would be excellent or perfect for operations in the Caucasus, but without these forces, the Italian army would not have enough men to cover its sector on the front. It seems that there is no ideal choice for their deployment on the eastern front. We can send them to guard the Don, the renamed 35th Corps, or send the Alpini to the Caucasus, where the 8th Army splits, and the Rapid Corps is renamed 35th Corps. Let's send them into the Caucasus. And they're starting to attack now. Well, they didn't really do anything yet, so that's fine. This is one operation, and they haven't really done anything in these other sectors. Here they tried to attack onto the 2nd Army with the 18th Tank Corps. It didn't go so well, and they apparently also have another Tank Corps. With both of these not doing very well, it might be a perfect time for an assault. And it was, so at least these guys are now in a castle as well. They're doing very poorly, they're quite weak. With their remaining, I can... shell, but that didn't do a whole lot. Let's just leave him then. Fornash, 4th Tank Corps is now there. I'm not gonna do a whole lot at that sector. 57th Army was trapped and probably died here. They did. The Cheer River is being crossed everywhere. It is now a race towards Kalach and its bridge, which is contested by the two sides. The suburbs of Vornesh have been reached. What? You mean Stalingrad? Because this is very weird. Will the German General Staff decide to take the city or order continuation of operations like the Dawn? They must mean Stalingrad and not Vornesh, because Vornesh is here. So basically this one here means we're gonna cross on this side, and this one kind of leads to other operations here. This is Seramovich Bridgehead. The constitution of bridgeheads beyond the Don enabled the Red Army to pose a permanent threat to the flanks of the Wehrmacht. I do have one rail here. Let's start with this. And we have here the 151st Fortified District. These guys don't have a lot of ammo. What do we have in the Cuban? Gruppe Mattenklot. None of these armies have a whole lot of artillery except the Alpini. Let's send them to the Crimean HQ. Operation Blucher. They are pinned for now. But that's not too bad actually. And I want to do shelling. I still have 1 point. Let's send you. Two in the north. They wanted air superiority. We did take it back. And shelling didn't do much. Now over here in the center, let's send them to, where did they, which is this one? Rzhevchovka. Let's defend. The Luftwaffe to the rescue. Our troops engaged in the Don Loop must advance towards Stalingrad, but the Soviet opposition and the logistics stretching from Stalino over more than 200 kilometers of steppe are slowing down our operations. Von Richthofen is ready to mobilize the Luftwaffe to relieve the logistics of the army. The Luftwaffe can come to the rescue, but not only making room in its bombers to transport crates and barrels, but also by putting 100 of its trucks at the service of the ground forces. It even envisages to transfer to the front the 9th Flak Division and its fearsome 88 troops. Of course, this would come at the expense of air support operations. Units in the Don loop. Ammunition and fuel +1. Tire -2. Aircraft -3. Trucks +25. Guns +3. War +1. Tires -2. Aircraft -3. This turn only. This is permanent. And continue the bombings. No effect. I actually want to know which units I'm in the Don loop. I don't think that many. One-time logistical assistance. You may have noticed that you're starting to run out of units to cover all operations. It's probably time to split up your units. This action is irreversible, but has many advantages. Small units are easier to supply. You gain in tactical and strategic flexibility in what you lose in punch. Of course, getting all these small units into action will cost a lot more command points, but this cannot be avoided. Imagine the formidable strength of the current front and the distances to be covered by the supply system, and you will understand that things have changed. A barrier? No, a formality. On the map, the Don seems to be a formidable obstacle to the German troops. However, it is not. Indeed, the two banks are not equal. The western bank towers 70 to 100 meters over an east bank devoid of shelter. The river itself, although 100 to 400 meters wide, has a weak current and is shallow in many places, making it easily crossable by canoe and facilitating the construction of bridges by engineers. Finally, in the summer period, forts are forming here and there, further increasing the possibilities of crossing. Finally, the Kalach Bridge has been captured in good condition. For all these reasons, the next operation towards Stalingrad will not give a river defensive bonus to the defender. Let's cross it. Operation Northlight. Important reinforcements have just arrived in the north. Operation Northlight is ready to be launched. It should allow the capture of Leningrad and get junction with the Finns. The latter have become cautious, and this operation should reassure them so that they get more involved in the front. AG North +2 command points. Reinforcements are available in the AG North reserves. Leningrad is now worth 2 victory points. The offensive resumes. Yeah, but I'm not getting it back. I don't... This is... I cannot select it, and then there's no... The game kind of acts as if I already took it, but that obviously doesn't work. Let's see, though. They attack these guys. I actually need reinforcements on the 14th Motorized Corps, which will be in danger. Also because they can't defend. So, what I want to do is, let's have you refit it. Liberation of Vornesh. And entrench. Nothing happened. First guards, you're in defense. That's fine. And this is the Don-Volga Isthmus. A few tens of kilometers separate the Wehrmacht from the Volga. Crossing the Don should be a formality, but several defensive lines have been established around the city. Will they be as strong as those of Moscow in 1941? This is a division and people's militias. Let's start here. Restore communications. Yeah, sure. But outflanked from all sides, the defender has allowed himself to be locked in the pocket. The 151st Fortified District has ceased to exist. Field deposits have come into our hands. German forces are in sight of the first defenses of Novorossiysk. First offensive is now open. They only have Novorossiysk sailors, but I've used up all the command points of the Crimea. Now, they did strategic suppression. -3 trucks, huh? Let's do air superiority first. And let's start with breakthrough here. And let's split this army. Because now, not only can some of these actually move. Funny that these guys can, this group of von Mackensen can also still split. Let's see how much progress. 7. It's not a lot. 6th Army, stretch line stragglers. Let's not refit. But I want hedgehog defense. They'll get rid of that. Yeah, I definitely did not have enough points to take care of all of this. In the north, I still cannot do that. It's super weird. So what happened? 43rd Army got itself in a pickle, tried to get out. 39th in reserve. 33rd tried to attack. 31st in reserve. 20th tried to attack. 20th tried to attack. Reinforcements. The violence of the fighting drove the OKW to locate new resources for the summer campaign, but with the struggles draining down our troops, both in the center and in the south, it is impossible to satisfy everyone. Where to send them? Reserves will increase by 4 panzers, 4 infantry, 4 cannon points. I will do it evenly. You may have noticed that reinforcements are available in Army Group B or in Army Group South. These Romanian and Italian units will allow you to protect the flanks of your troops advancing towards Stalingrad. I know you have few command points to spare and that it seems more interesting to prioritize the progression towards the east than the consolidation of your flanks. It was exactly the trade-off made by the German High Command that led to the Stalingrad disaster. Bringing in reinforcements on the bank of the Don, supplying them correctly and building the defensive positions can only be done to the detriment of your progress. It's up to you to decide between speed and caution. Red Mountain folks. Not all the peoples of the Caucasus are waiting for us as liberators. Partisans from Kuban, Ossetia, Chechnya, and Ingushetia are actively helping the Red Army. When they don't cut our lines of communication, they're supplying the Red Army or harassing our troops. An impressive number of our vehicles were sabotaged or destroyed, and our officers are falling victim of snipers, one after another. The Army's intelligence believes that these movements are not spontaneous. They were raised, trained, and equipped by the Soviets. Our troops are starting to hate the Caucasus. Partisans appear on the battlefields of the Caucasus. Units engaged in the Caucasus each lose 1 truck. Engaged in the Caucasus lose 1 cohesion point. Bloody Coat Threaders. Directive 46. Bendenbekämpfung. Since July, Himmler has been in charge of the fight against the partisans in the rear areas, which are not directly under military authority. Under his leadership, the SS has further hardened its action. The term partisan is banned and replaced by that of bandit, and the operations are now entrusted to experienced killers. Hitler, in full agreement with these methods, has just formalized them into a directive. He calls for recourse to the most extreme brutality in order to completely exterminate the bands of bandits. Populations of the area where the bandits operate must be considered as enemy fighters, no longer civilians. These areas should be turned into dead zones, Totezonen. If some officers may have qualms, others like Model approve these orders wholeheartedly. Reluctant soldiers will no doubt be reassured by the immunity this directive gives them for acts committed in the fight against bandits. Anti-partisan units are more effective. Barbarity +5. actions against partisans increase the barbarity score even faster. These are the orders. Developers note, criminal orders. It was obvious to me that a game about World War II should not ignore the horrors of that war. Of course, I know full well that the eruption of such questions can make some players uncomfortable. Is that moron game designers gamifying war crimes? Here are the guidelines I tried to follow. 1. War crimes should not be ignored. 2. I will not emit moral judgments, just the facts and their bare brutality. 3. When there is subjectivity, I try to present the facts in a way a contemporary might have felt them, including when numbers are given. 4. The barbarity score will only increase over time, never decrease, and the player can only hope to slow down his progress as much as possible. Right, let's do this as a last turn before I wrap this one up. So we have 2 guards rifle corps coming to the front. Unfortunate, since we got pretty close there. They just got air superiority in here. Nothing done here. 204th, 205th Division. Whereas out here, 64th Army went to the front, tried to attack the Slovak Vast Division, which is the only thing there now. They attacked, no real result. Vornash moved the 17th Tank Corps in, and this attack, 38th Army. Alright, let's choose Breakthrough. You have 2 ammo, but they're very small. These are bigger, but I would be hard pressed to resupply them at that point. Well, the same applies here. One thing I could do here is airlift. Yeah, I know it costs a lot of planes. But it did help in clearing out at least 2 of the people's militias. We do still have this first separate rifle corps. Last of the militias is dead. Neither of these 2 is particularly powerful. The thing for the 6th Army is that they're gonna get 1 ammo each turn, I suppose. Alright, let's try to send some units in there. So I need you. We have here the Bohuchar bridgehead, and this is the Saramovich bridgehead. Okay, but I need units. The 2nd Italian Corps is pretty decent. I need them to go to the Don Volga Isthmus. And this should then soon allow, if I bring these up, That should allow me to use the 6th army to go and attack. Now, another unit. Let's see. That's relatively powerful is this score. But I will send these to Novorossiysk. And these will have hedgehog defense for now. Need to build up a few more forces in that area. The center. Nothing happened. They try to get out, they died. They try to get out, they died. Let's dig into 4th Army again. And in here, apparently killed 2nd Shock. Well, you don't hear me complaining about that. And Signavino. It appears that the Soviets have gone on the offensive in the Leningrad region. Their objective is crystal clear, to clear the Leningrad area from German troops once and for all. The matter is serious enough that area reinforcements have been urgently assigned to the Leningrad area. We must hold on. They get a bunch of command points and stuff. They shall not pass. Well, let's just see what happened. They didn't do anything here. Got a bunch of troops in here. Nothing here. 208th Division up in here. An attack on the Slovak Fast Division. That will be a problem because they have only 1 more ammo, so I need to send more troops there. Restore communications there, it's not a thing. Attacking the motorized corps, didn't do anything. Nothing. Okay. Here, I think they died, or at least they did very poorly. Nothing happened. 9th Corps lost something. And neither did anything happen there. So anyway, I will wrap things up here. I do hope that things will look somewhat normal after this, since there's some very weird things going on down here with the south and A, and that doesn't work properly yet. Yeah, so, and there's the Leningrad thing, which also kind of is just gone. Okay. It seems like the AI has caught on to me not going to Moscow. Oh well. Either way, I'm gonna end the video here. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you next time. Bye-bye.